And I took an immediate liking to the outdoors in a what I would call somewhat a biblical sense from a mountain man perspective. And I didn't hardly read at all as a kid, but there was a few books that I did read. And one that I specifically mentioned over and over, and I've read it since I've been an adult, 4 or 5 times, and it's called "Give Your Heart to the Hawks" by Winford Blevins. And I read that in junior high, and I read it in high school, and it's about the mountain man. It's about the waking. I'm
going to add it to my queue. Yeah, Matty, let's look this up real quick.
Yeah, it's
so this is kind of cool too. I didn't tell you. Matt can pull up anything if we need to fact check anything. Like that's one reason.
So if I lie, you'll know right away.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Well, because Google's always right.
Yeah.
Right? It's funny because my mother-in-law, whenever somebody gets sick in the family, and no disrespect, Kathy, I love you, but she instantly starts Googling like how to cure or what you might have, and you can find anything you're looking for on both sides, you know.
But in this case, the extremists can do that as well. But they just have a tendency to lie a lot more.
Right.
So
awesome, man.
That's the book.
Give your heart to the Hawks. That's awesome.
And so
when was this written?
Well, I think that one there is the paper. It's 2005, but it's I don't see where it says on there.
God, I love American history from this era, like mountain men, Native American culture. I love doing these deep dives, man.
Yeah. See, I think that's when it was republished there.
Okay.
But in any event, I mean, that was a kind of the catalyst to me to get involved in some things. And I read a lot of other books, like, you saw the Jeremiah Johnson stuff, Crow Killer, and the historical precedent of white travel through Native American cultures and the expansion of the West and through the Louisiana Purchase and Lewis and Clark. And then you get into the John Coulters and the Jedediah Smiths and the Hugh Glasses, and I was enamored with that. And
I still am, man.
I think it's a part of American history that has a lot of tragedy with it, but it has a lot of individualism, and it has a lot of perspectives of what's better on the other side. And I think that's where we look at modern day life. We always want something better. It's just how do we accomplish it? I mean, we could turn around and Google it. Look at this. You're turning around and looking at that. Although it took me about 35 minutes to find your damn building here of driving up and down the street.
I'm sorry, I almost called you, but I was like, maybe he's on the phone with somebody more important than me.
No, I was trying to find a parking place for a rental car that I got. So I started working in a taxidermy shop in Colorado Springs when I was 12 years old, sweeping floors. And the guys that I was around were hunting guides and fur trappers and fur buyers and Western artists and taxidermists and game wardens and ranchers. And it was a culture it kind of went along with those books that I was reading. There was individualism. It was guys that went out and either made part of their living off of the landscape, or they helped regulate that part of the living off the landscape, or they helped inform people about that part of the living on the landscape. And I think I was just enamored with that whole outdoorsy side of things. And I took it to school. And I was trapping in school. And one of my shop teachers, Merle Folsom, he kind of took me under his wing because I did a lot of stuff that other kids didn't do and didn't have any interest in. And I played baseball and I played football and I was good at baseball. I wasn't worth a damn at football because I was too little at the time. But I did rodeo, I did trap shooting and skeet shooting. And Mr. Folsom at the time told me, I remember vividly, Mr. Gates, this is not 1840, and you are not Jim Bridger. But he let me build a muzzleloading pistol in shop class, and I built a little cannon.
That's
in shop. Yeah, you can't even talk about doing anything like that.
So I used to hunt the mornings before I went to school, and my rifle was in my gun rack in the back window of my truck.
I had a 1968 Pontiac Catalina station wagon that was full of dead stuff every day because I went and it was hard to get a date because no girl wanted to get in the damn thing. It wasn't. Matter of fact, and I laugh about this. My prom date went to prom with me in a 1960 Chevy water truck. Yeah, that's what I drove at the time, and so it's how you were brought up at a specific time of your life, and how you incorporate that into your everyday living. I was fortunate enough to immediately start to, and I've had jobs as I worked for somebody for day pay or that sort of stuff, and I worked a couple other jobs, but the majority of my life I've been self-employed, and what I did as a kid got me to that level of independence, individuality, probably set my personality and my perspectives on a wide variety of different things. But that's where most of us get our backgrounds at, is from our youth. Now, in today's college environment, I think it's a little bit more skewed, in my opinion. I haven't been to college.
It's so different.
It's a different deal. It really is.
The one reason that brought me back to I've always loved the mountains, but the one reason that specifically brought me back to Colorado was I wanted my kids to grow up the same way. And the only reason that I really hunt, we're not a hunting podcast. I'm not trying to be a professional hunter. I do it for my own enjoyment, right. My own substance, really, is what I'm out there for. And God, it's rekindled since I started, but I'm very much, I parent from a lead by example mentality, right? And I look back and I'm so fortunate that I grew up with, not a father figure because my dad left at a very young age, but I had grandfathers and uncles that were like traditional bow hunters, still hunt with those guys today, which is awesome. And they taught me just ethics of how to be a good sportsman and a good steward of the land and to take care of it. And there was a lot of influence growing up right here in Evergreen where it was just different. Well, there was a lot of, like my teachers, I remember teachers that taught government economics that were super left-wing, but would go out and elk hunt. You know what I mean? And nowadays you wouldn't even... No. It turned into a politicized type thing.
It's partisan recreation is what it's become. And, the guys that I grew up around, I remember there again vividly going hunting with those guys or guiding in those camps or playing wrangler in those camps for paying clients. And to see how that they lived on the landscape. Not only did they live on it, they knew about where they were because they'd been there for 30, 40, 50 years. The landowners, the guides, the outfitters, and most of the game and land managers that I knew made careers out of it.